Of coffee shops operated by the big chains like Starbucks and Costa Coffee has shot up in the last year during one of our worst recessions since records began. The 6 biggest coffee chains have opened almost 700 new cafes between them. That's an increase of 47%. Altogether, there are nearly 12,000 coffee shops in the UK. Most of those are still independently owned, not even a hint of a coffee crunch then. Well, joining us now is Matthew Hopkinson, director of the local data company. They crunched all these numbers. Matthew, thank you very much for coming in. The perception is coffee is cheap, but a lot of these chains, you go in, you buy a latte, a large latte, you whack in a bit of hazelnut syrup or something, and you're paying £4. It's not exactly cheap, is it?
No, I don't think it is. It is cheap, but I think what we've seen through the research that the local data company do by walking around these centres is that people are prepared during the recession to pay that money. And if you're one of the operators, it's costing you 4.5 pence and you're getting £2, £3, £4 back. So it's good business for them.
So it's less about the fact that perhaps consumers want it. It's such a good business to be in that people are racing into it.
Well, I think consumers want it because I think we've seen a squeeze on office accommodation. People have lost their jobs, and these coffee shops have actually become a great place to hang out. They're safe, they've got Wi-Fi. So actually they've become an extension of the office, they've become an extension of people's living rooms.
So could we actually see them utilising their space just as much as their coffee selling ability, actually to become a kind of a meeting place, especially since things like pubs, which perhaps used to provide that function, are closing down?
Yeah, absolutely. I think what we're going to see is that the dwell time. I think the whole thing about retail is about dwell time. Get people in, get them comfortable, and they'll spend more money with you. I think that within the pub question is another matter, and I think from our research we're seeing that the pubs aren't really massively closing down in the city centres. It's mainly out in the rural areas which have less footfall and less custom to pull on that you do in a city centre.
Before I came on, I checked how many Starbucks there are in the States. There are over 10,000. So does that mean that we can see even more growth in the UK in this area?
Well, I think Starbucks are rumoured to be closing about 50 of their least profitable ones, but they have opened a lot over the first few years and they really triggered this whole growth. We've got the McCafe concept coming, and they say in 2010, and if they can open in the heart of Paris, then they're also going to open in the heart of London. So I think we may have a way to go, and I think perhaps there'll be a bit of a price war. We've already seen it with a sandwich shop that sells coffee, Pret a Manger, offering a 99p coffee.
Matthew Hopkinson from the local data company, thank you very much for joining us.